Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of Adelphi Sportsday, which this afternoon is dedicated to one sport, golf for the blind and visually impaired.
Yes, if you're a player, professional or amateur, you'll know how hard it is to get your golfing handicap down. But if you can't see the ball or the fairways, it takes some determination and a lot of practice to get onto the green.
We'll be meeting some inspirational golfers with their guides and also finding out just how important sport is in helping those who've lost their sight keep fit, physically and mentally.
It was quite a scary thought to lose my sight. I never anticipated that I would never have vision. And you don't feel disabled when you're out on the golf course. You feel like an equal alongside other sighted people.
Good. I get a lot of satisfaction from helping these guys. Immense satisfaction from winning tournaments with them. We go all over the world playing. Ambition being to get enough countries playing blind golf that we can actually get into the Paralympics.
I look forward to it more than anything I've ever done before. It's completely took over my life. I'm only looking forward now to what's to come in 2024.
Hello and thanks for joining us for our programme dedicated to the men and women of the North West who play golf despite having little or no sight.
All are members of the England and Wales Blind Golf Association, and recently they met up at Myerscough College near Preston, which has a golf academy and 9-hole course. They agreed to give access to sports journalism students at UCLan and tell us all about their sport.
The first story of today's programme comes from Ray Clemens. He became blind on his 49th birthday 2 years ago due to Leber's disease. He was homeless and sofa surfing for 10 months. Ray was participating in blind golf for the first time when he spoke to our reporter Harvey Redmonds, where he explained how his sight loss has changed his life for the better.
It sounds like this is what helped Ray know how good his shot is, and that is because Ray is registered blind. Rudy is Ray's guide on this special day. His first full round of golf since losing his sight. And so far, it's going well. Ray admits that his life before his diagnosis was already below par.
I give all my clubs and all my equipment away because for me personally I thought that was golf done. I have to be honest here, but I thought that was golf done for me. And then I went up to Manchester and done like an open day. With blind golfers there, and as soon as I hit that first ball, I was in, I was back. I thought, I need my clubs back.
No. He struggled with his alcoholism, lost his job and lost his home. Going blind, ironically, forced him to get his life back on track.
But the other side is, I'm 2.5 years clean and sober as well, and that I think is what's kept me level-headed through all this as well. And I think that doing this sport and there being opportunities out there for us, I think a lot of people just need to get out there and try it. I think for me, if I don't get off my backside and go and do this stuff, nobody can force me.
Ray makes the shots he needs, but the support of volunteer Rudy, a golf pro who gets great satisfaction from the job.
I think a satisfied golfer is a job well done. I think it's just ticking that box that you've done a good job. You've not just improved them in a physical way of hitting the ball, but in a mental capacity as well. If they can come out of the session positive and happy, I think that's above all else.
Two great words to describe Ray, who says blindness is no bar to happiness. It's given him a new lease of life.
Oh, this is nice, mate. Oh, he's just missed the cup. He just missed the cup.
Losing my sight is like a blessing, and I know that may sound mad, but what it's done is my midlife crisis was losing my sight, and it's the best thing that's happened to me, I'll be honest. I try so much more stuff now, so much new stuff. I help so many people on different levels now. Life's good. Life is really good.
Harvey Redmonds, Adelphi Sportsday, Myerscough College.
A fascinating story from Ray there, and we're joined now by Harvey on the sofa. Harvey, what stood out for you the most talking to Ray?
I think the biggest thing that I noticed was how honest and open he was about his condition. Obviously, it's not an ideal situation for anyone to be in, but how confident he was just speaking out about it and telling us his whole story was just so interesting.
Well, Ray is a member of the England and Wales Blind Golf Association. Can you tell us more about their plans for the future?
So their plans for the future are to potentially go into the Paralympics. So if they carry on the way they're going at the moment, yeah, that's the main ambition. So hopefully in the next, 10, 12 years or something, they might end up being there, hopefully.
And Harvey, who can get involved with the Blind Golf Association?
So it's anyone that's got any sort of visual impairment. So there's 4 different categories. So you've got the B1, which is like the worst, like you're just fully blind, you can't see anything. So B2, B3 and B4. And so yeah, you've got that, and then you've got the age ranges, which is literally anyone. So it could be like a small child to an elderly adult. So yeah, it's really good how open it is, really.
Cool. Thank you, Harvey. Now we're going to hear a very interesting story from Pete Hutchinson and his wife Margaret. He lost his sight in his 70s, aged 24, and when he decided to take up golf, Margaret became his guide on the course. The sport has taken him to golf clubs across the world. Evan Halliday has their story.
Peter and Margaret have been married 50 years, and for 49 of those years, Peter has been legally considered blind. In 1986, the couple took on blind golf, and since then, Margaret has guided her husband across golf courses all over the world.
We've been to Kenya as a couple, playing golf over there to raise money for Kenyan Society for the Blind. Been to Australia, a long time back now, but I won the Australian Open back in 1990.
They have won numerous major honours together, including the British Blind Masters, and Peter gave an insight on just how important a guide is for a blind golfer.
It's a team game, as simple as that. Your guide is the golfer's eyes, and you work as a team discussing what you need to do, the lie of the land in front of you, all the information that as a sighted person you'd have yourself.
However, Margaret insisted it wasn't that straightforward.
I suppose, can you imagine a husband teaching his wife to drive? That won't go down very well sometimes, so it's... No, we do.
Generally speaking,
we're okay, aren't we?
We're okay. We've had a reasonable amount of success over the years. We've won a few things together.
Golf has become a major part in Peter's life, and he's seen the sport grow across his long, illustrious career.
I love golf, so something, I'm one of these people that really got hooked on it. When I first joined, I was member number 11, and there weren't many people about at all playing, but it grew and grew. You can see it really growing now, really getting strong again. We've got lots of new members over the last couple of years, both men and women, which is also great to see. Old and young. I'm at the older end, but there's a lot of young people coming through, and it's a great thing if you're a sport orientated and you're a blind person, whether you've played golf perhaps before you lost your sight, or whether you just want to start afresh and have a go. Try it. It's not that hard. It's a standing ball. It's not moving.
Peter Hutchinson ending that report. Next up, we meet Stuart Hutchinson, who actually played golf in his teens and had a pretty good handicap of 12, but then he lost his sight.
When Stuart was diagnosed with the hereditary eye condition Stargardt disease in his 20s, he gave up the game for the next 28 years. Last year, he decided to give it another go, and with the help of John, his brother-in-law, he's already enjoying international success. Tom Kelly has been to meet them both.
I'm Stuart, I'm a blind golfer.
I'm John, I'm Stuart's coach. We're the Irish Open
and British Open
champions.
Nearly a quarter of a century ago, Stuart started to suffer with sight loss. Now he's living with less than 5% vision. After retiring from the NHS, it was only last year he began to take up blind golf alongside his brother-in-law John.
It's given me a new lease of life to get going and get out, and I've met so many people, and I just meet more and more people the more I play it, and for mental health wise it's excellent.
It's been a successful first year for Stuart, winning both the British and Irish Open. He's the only person in the world to win 2 international events, but he couldn't have done it without his coach John, who's a keen amateur golfer himself. and since becoming a guide, it's opened his eyes to what blind golfers really go through.
After our first event where we met the rest of the people and the rest of the guides and the rest of the golfers, we were driving home and he actually said to me, he said, didn't realise how lucky I was. That some of these guys and their backstories, they are the most inspirational people you will ever meet.
With summer around the corner, focus now turns back to competing on the golf course. They will both be travelling to Spain and Canada for open tournaments, and Stuart can't wait to get going.
I look forward to it more than anything I've ever done before. It's completely took over my life. I'm only looking forward now to what's to come in 2024 and beyond.
It's been a great first year for Stuart and John, even getting a hole-in-one in the process, and it'll be no surprise if he's still competing at the top level in another 25 years. Tom Kelly, Adelphi Sportsday.
Now, not all the players with the England and Wales Blind Golf Association are adults. Next up, we meet 15-year-old Amelo Sadra, who lives in Liverpool.
As a baby, he needed neurosurgery on his skull, which damaged his sight. He's reduced field vision and struggles with depth perception, and his brain takes a while to process what he's looking at.
As we'll find out, Amelo is quite the sportsman despite his visual impairment, and he has big ambitions to play around the world, while Mum Mel is determined to persuade other golfers and those who run golf courses to do more for blind and visually impaired players.
Amelo Sadra is a 15-year-old with big dreams.
To play golf for Team GB.
Amelo and his mum, Mel, received news that he would never be able to play sport after serious brain surgery when he was just 15 months old.
Sports is what I really enjoy doing, and being told that I couldn't do sports was just really upsetting and hard, because I shouldn't be told I can't do sports just because I'm visually impaired.
After a bad experience at a course, Mel believes that more still needs to be done in terms of accepting disabilities within sport.
Oh, loads needs to be done, I think, in general for any disability, because we live with it. We see things all the time on a daily basis. You try and educate people, you explain the situation. Some people are open to it and some people aren't.
They were almost sent away from a course the day before, as Amelo was told he was not allowed to have someone on the course to accompany him.
We weren't going out there, doing cartwheels on the green, and, we were there having a serious game of golf. He's a serious competitor. You take everything, you put your all into everything. But even, she let us go, but even at the end she said, ideally it's just one of you.
Family is massive for Amelo, and they have been crucial throughout his life.
Definitely. So he's got two younger siblings who are fiercely protective of you, aren't they? They are like little Rottweilers, to be fair. They won't stand for any nonsense.
Is accessibility in sport improving? They believe that much more needs to be done. Tom Bird, Adelphi Sportsday.
A very ambitious young man there, and we wish him all the best with his golfing career.
And of course, being a member of the Blind Golf Association does mean that Amelo is surrounded by impressive role models, including the likes of Andy Gilford.
Andy's played in 5 Blind Ryder Cups and is the current world champion, and has just become chair of the Blind Golf Association. He's been speaking to our reporter, Matt Cool.
Thanks, Holly. Andy Gilford joins us now. Andy, thank you so much for joining us. This charity, it's changed your life.
Yeah, it has, to be honest. Found out about the charity in 1998. I played golf as a child with sight loss with my friends at the local golf club, Shaw Hill up in Lancashire, and found out about the charity back in 1998 purely by chance, by probably listening to a programme like you're doing now. If I hadn't been in the room that day, my life probably would be a lot. I don't be here today if it wasn't for the charity with me. Encouragement and basically support.
So, what's blind golf done for you on a personal level?
What it did for me was made me accept my eyesight. I struggled as a child, going through school and things like that. And coming to terms with sight loss, it's almost like living with a ticking time bomb. You never know, what lies ahead. And golf gave me a way of accepting it. I used to struggle to admit about my eyesight and try and hide it away as much as possible. But it gave me the confidence and later on in life something to be proud of.
Many of our viewers may not even know what blind golf is or how to get involved. What's the key to growing this sport in the future? Awareness, education?
So the key to growing the charity is really awareness. And I'm also involved in growing the game globally through International Blind Golf, but for England and Wales Blind Golf is getting that word out there through programs like Women Here, through the media. Basically, it's a known fact that nobody knows blind golf exists within the golf community. Everybody that we speak to is basically, I didn't even know, blind golf, what's that? And the biggest thing for us to get across is you see the word blind and many people think complete darkness. And that's something that we as an organisation and as a sport across the world, but also the industry has to get across there, because 96% of people that are legally blind have some sight. And how many people are out there that are giving up the game or basically that could be part of this sport that don't know that this exists and how it can benefit them through being able to share this journey with a loved one, a friend, or basically through volunteers who you've met through the program, that aren't related to people but very kindly donate the time and sight.
Guides are a huge component of blind golf and the game can't be played without them. But there appears to be a little bit of a shortage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a big thing right across the world as well, because, the golfer can't play without somebody's sight. And again, I go back to, it's the same as the golfers. These people don't know this sport that exists now. It's a great way for people to get out there and stay active. One of the organisations that are really looking to target going forward with the charity is Aid Concern. How many seniors are living at home that could be out, being active, out in the fresh air, just being out with friendship. And you look at the impact that loneliness has on the world, and also, COVID.
So we're now in an Olympic year and the best golfers on the planet will convene in Paris to compete for glory. Is blind golf being in the Paralympics a realistic target?
It's hoped in the future. It's something that myself and a number of people are working towards in international blind golf to give as many people an opportunity in life across the world. I mean, we've almost got a world tour at the moment where each country has their own national open through international blind golf. You've got the World Championships, the ISPS and the Blind Ryder Cup. Next thing has to be the Olympics, really. But we've got to do what's right for the players as well, to give as many people an opportunity as possible. So you've got the IBSA Games, to get blind golf into the IBSA Games would be phenomenal, because to me that would be the stepping stone into the Olympics.
Andy, thanks so much for your time and the best of luck with everything going forward. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Matt. That was our reporter, Matt Cool, talking to Andy Gilford there. Now, like all players, blind golfers are always looking for ways to improve their stroke play and so keen to make use of technology.
Myerscough College was keen to help the blind golfers, so player Neil Barnfith was given some tips on his swing. RJ Sadabi reports.
When you're on your own or things aren't going your way, or, the narrowing of your life which you get with a visual impairment, which there's nothing you can do about it, and your family and everyone are really supportive if you're lucky enough in that respect, but you still got to find something that motivates you, and sport always motivated me anyway.
Neil has a rare genetic condition called Usher's type 2A, which is characterised by progressive vision and hearing loss that typically begins in adolescence. To get a better understanding of different visual impairments, we spoke to Jess Macbeth, who provided a visual aid.
These are visual impairment simulation glasses, and these are mainly for sighted people or people maybe with partial sight to get a better idea of the impact of particular conditions on someone's sight. This first one that we've got here mimics having glaucoma, but it's similar in some ways to the condition that Neil has got. So this basically means that you have no peripheral vision, but very narrow tunnel vision in both eyes.
Visual impairment affects nearly 2 million people in the UK, but it doesn't stop a person like Neil playing golf, even in these conditions. Neil also got the chance to get to grips with technology as he practiced his golf swing away from the adverse weather.
So inside this box is a radar that used with the same technology that spots aeroplanes, that spots like missiles in army type technology. So it talks to this golf ball. So when this golf ball leaves and goes on its journey, it's being tracked, and it can see how much it's spin. We call it RPM, so revolutions per minute, and this is moving thousands and thousands of times every second. And what that does dictates where it goes. You know, Neil's swinging here about 95 miles an hour. So this golf ball is leaving that face at around 130, 140 miles an hour. So it's spinning very, very fast. So it creates like an equation. It knows it's spinning in this direction, clockwise, counterclockwise, backwards, forwards. We've only asked him to do one or two things, and immediately this golf ball's changed by 30, 40 yards.
Stuart Priestley ending that report from our correspondent IJ there. Those goggles are a really good way of helping players who can see understand the challenges of players without full sight.
Now, like most charities, the Blind Golf Association needs support, and one businesswoman has been helping them raise awareness in cash. She and her husband are keen golfers, but when he became ill, she decided getting involved with the charity would help her make new friends while also helping the association.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Smith, and I've been playing golf for the past 20 years. I got into golf through my husband, who plays, and we were looking for something to do together, and so I decided I would have a go at golf and see how I got on. The difference in blind golf to normal golf is seeing people that are less fortunate than ourselves can play as good golf, and we think that we're bad and you know, we've got all these issues within us, but when you actually see somebody that can't actually see at all and can actually hit a ball and play golf, is very humbling. It's very important that we help people with disabilities to actually be able to have a life outside of their disability, because it's so easy to get encased in it and not have a life, not have friends, whereas golf to me is an escapism, and it is rewarding. And even as the wife, listening to my husband when he comes back that he's excited, he's had a good day, it means quite a lot to me, because it's what I see happen is during a week he can go down mentally, but he'll go out golfing, he'll come back, he's more stimulated, he's enjoyed it. I'm fully sighted and obviously live a normal life, but I realise the game of golf, what it can do for an individual. I've used golf within my business as well. I've been involved in organising charity golf days, gala dinners, golf networking for business people as well. So I've actually formed quite a community around golf and business and charity. And it is starting to grow, and I think that the more we can raise the awareness of what we are, who we help, why we do it, we will start to make headway and bring new people in to it.
Behind every good blind golfer has to be a good guide, and the association is always looking for volunteers.
John Kennedy is one such guide, but he has also been coaching lots of other people to become guides. He took Ben Hazelden through the process of how to play blind golf.
Then he puts his hand out, feels the flag, and we walk back to the ball. Nick gets some idea of the slope and the distance to the ball. Right, come round, come round, come round, come round. Okay. And right a bit, right. Okay, that's good. Okay, give me a 7-foot swing. That's good, that's good. Right, my name's John Kennedy. I'm a teacher, guide and fundraiser for England and Wales Blind Golf. I was asked by my golf course manager to go along and help with a blind golf tournament in 1998. And I was talking to a guy called Gordon Dixon from Scotland. I said, what do you get out of this game, Gordon? And he said, all the same as you, really. The fresh air, the friendship, the camaraderie, that lovely feeling through your hands when you hit a great shot. And then he said something that hit me in the heart and stays with me to this day. He said, and most of all, you don't tread in dog shit.
John Kennedy is one of the many volunteers at England and Wales Blind Golf Association. He helps to guide those that have had vision issues in the past and have needed to find a new ways to play sport and socialise.
Not enough people know about blind golf. Certainly those that have played golf in the past and lost their sight don't know about the new technology involved at driving ranges, which gives sight back to the golfers. If they've got 5% or 10% vision, they can actually look at the screens at the driving ranges and see a simulation of how their ball is flying.
Nick Mills is 63 and has had sight problems for the majority of his life. He's the only one at this meetup who is completely blind, meaning he requires the most help when setting up a shot.
I'm B1, which is totally blind, or light perception, and then you need all the help you can get, really. Blind golf is yourself and a guide, so it's teamwork. So the guide will take you up to the course, they'll take you to the tees and line you up and tell you the distance.
Blind golf is not just restricted to these events though. The sport has allowed Nick to travel around the world and play in competitions, an amazing experience that he might not have had without the sport.
Yeah, blind golf takes you all over Britain, competitions are all around the country, but then there's competitions around the world you can go and play if you want to.
Whereabouts have you travelled in the past?
America, Arizona, Italy, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, Spain.
I get a lot of satisfaction from helping these guys, immense satisfaction from winning tournaments with them. And it's an event people don't realise, but we go all over the world playing. Ambition being to get enough countries playing blind golf that we can actually get into the Paralympics.
Ben Hazelden, Adelphi Sportsday.
Now, of course, golf isn't the only sport which blind and visually impaired people can play, and many sports are looking at ways of attracting a wider variety of amateur athletes.
Joining us live is reporter Ethan Bence with Dr Jessica Macbeth from UCLan, who's been researching sports for visually impaired people for 20 years.
Thanks, Holly. So Jess, you've been looking at the impact of sports on the visually impaired. Why is it so important for them?
Well, visually impaired people are one of the most inactive minority groups and one of the most inactive groups of disabled people as well. So sport can play a really important role in terms of the health benefits and the physical fitness of people with visual impairments, but also socially and mentally as well. So research has shown that visually impaired people sometimes, depending on whether they were born with a visual impairment or have acquired one later in life, sometimes through sport, that might be the first time that they've met someone else who's visually impaired. So sport can play a really important social role as well.
Definitely. So what are the barriers to blind people and visually impaired people playing sport, as it isn't that they just can't see?
That's right, it's not because they've got a visual impairment necessarily that they can't be involved in sport. It's predominantly down to societal barriers. So things such as internalised ableism, so people thinking that just because someone has got a visual impairment they're not able to participate in sport, and sometimes visually impaired people internalise that idea and think that sport isn't for them, don't necessarily have the confidence to do it. But there's a lot of other societal barriers such as a lack of local opportunities. People with visual impairment aren't able to drive, so therefore they're reliant either on other people or on public transport to get them to whatever opportunities do exist. There's a lack of awareness of opportunities as well. There's not a huge amount of funding in disability sport and VI sport in particular. And with a lack of awareness and a lack of coverage, there's also potentially a lack of role models as well. So there's a whole host of a combination of barriers that might. There's those common ones, but for individuals as well, there might be more specific ones depending on their own background.
Okay, so what opportunities have you seen for blind people in sport?
Well, there are opportunities all the way from the grassroots up to the elite level. So VI athletes can participate in the Paralympics, for example, or an equivalent world championships in different sports around the world. In terms of the grassroots level, though, locally there's a lot of organisations and stakeholders that work together to offer opportunities. So your national governing bodies of sport tend to offer opportunities to disabled people, not always specifically visually impaired people, and there needs to be a lot more work done in that respect. There's also specific sports for visually impaired people, such as goalball and showdown. And then also your local sight loss charities do a lot of work, and sport is part of their remit as well, to try and improve the health and social aspects of visually impaired people's lives.
Thank you. Okay, so what sort of work are UCLan themselves hoping to do to encourage blind people into sport?
Well, UCLan have been involved in doing research on visually impaired sport for about 20 years now. It first started when we did a project on the partially sighted World Football Championships in 2004, and since then we've been involved in a project for British Blind Sport, looking at the sport and physical activity of children and young people with visual impairments. We've done research around visually impaired running and guide running, and we're currently doing some research on women's visually impaired football as well, because that's quite a recent development. But going forward, we're also hoping to just work in partnership with some of the key organisations such as England and Wales Blind Golf to find out more about the lived experiences of visually impaired people in sport, the barriers they face and how they can be addressed.
Thank you very much for that, Jess. Back to the studio.
Thank you for that, Ethan. Mandy Large from Cheshire is enjoying the kind of success she never dreamed of before losing her sight because of a genetic eye condition.
Among her many accolades, Mandy is British Open Women's Champion and has represented England against Scotland. She's also representing the rest of the world against the Americas this summer. Morgan Saunders has been speaking to Mandy alongside her best friend and guide, Jane Savesky.
Golf is the most popular sport for blind people, and players compete at a high level all around the world. The only real difference between blind and regular golf is that the participant is allowed a guide to help them through the course. Amelo Sadra says the sport has changed her life.
It was quite a scary thought to lose my sight. I never anticipated that I would never have vision. With the help of friends and family, we looked into sport, and visually impaired sport has been a massive part of my life. And you don't feel disabled when you're out on a golf course because you're out in the open playing a sport, and you feel like an equal alongside other sighted people. So I think from a mental health perspective, I think golf's fantastic. Yeah.
Jane Savesky, who is Amanda's chosen guide and old friend, explains her experience assisting Amanda.
And yes, you do feel responsible, and there's a lot of things with golf as well that you can be doing well and then the next hole it can go wrong. So a lot of that is not just the guiding and direction, it's also supporting Mandy as she plays as well. When we went to the Masters last year, honestly, we had so much fun. You know, this isn't some kind of pity party that you're doing. These people are amazing and resilient and great fun. So, I couldn't recommend it enough.
Amanda has played other blind sports at the highest level, but naturally, with age, she has to find a new sport she could still compete in.
Played tennis most of my life since I was a child, so I was quite sporty anyway. So sport was the obvious step during my sight loss journey. Initially we looked into cricket, played a lot of cricket, got up to international level for that, and then took up tennis and have done the same, but I'm actually ageing now, so that's why I started thinking about taking up golf.
She's already represented England, and despite upcoming talent, Amanda's still confident she'll be able to compete in next year's World Championships. Morgan Saunders, Adelphi Sportsday.
Amelo Large from the England and Wales Blind Golf Association there. Now, a husband and wife team we met at Myerscough with Steve and Sally Beavers from Wallasey.
Steve has been a member of England and Wales Blind Golf for 20 years, and now with the help of wife and guide Sally is taking his golfing talents to the competitive stage. Finn Honeywood has been talking to them.
Okay, so. No, forward a bit. That's it, perfect.
Sally Beavers had never played golf in her life before she met Steve. But now she takes to the course in a different role.
Just a vague direction from here. Yeah. Okay? That's perfect, yeah. That's a great shot, yeah.
it's something I enjoy more than I thought I would, if I'm honest. I'm not a golfer, which is a handicap for me doing it, because I can't give Steve the advice really about the course. So when he goes with my boys or with one of his friends, you know, they're golfers, they can tell him the information about the course and maybe club selection and things like that that he needs.
Where's the wind going, Sob?
Left to right.
Is that real left to right?
My left to right, yes. I'm not very good at my left to right. Yes.
Steve, formerly a PE teacher, is classified as having a severe sight impairment, which has made his role as a husband and a father that little bit more difficult.
I think when he was diagnosed, I didn't really understand what would happen. And then as his eyesight deteriorated, when you're living with it's not like a big change, you know, it just gets slowly worse. But obviously I could feel his frustrations. Eventually he had to stop doing the things he loved, like playing cricket, and he's had to stop having driving lessons for obvious reasons.
But thanks to blind golf, Beavers has taken his talents to the world stage, and even to face off against some local rivals.
We play within domestic blind golf, we play 6 or 7 tournaments a year that then lead to an order of merit, from which we pick a team to play an annual match against blind golfers from Scotland. And when I first started playing, that was the big aim, was to get in the team to play against the old enemy and beat them.
Finn Honeywood, Adelphi Sportsday.
Best of luck to Sally and Steve, as well as the other members, when they go to Austria in the summer.
That's it from our special edition of Adelphi Sports Day. Thanks to all the golfers and their guides for taking part, and to the England and Wales Golf Association.
To find out more about blind golf and the people we've featured this afternoon, you can go over to our website at UCLan Live. We also have a special edition of our podcast, SportsMad UCLan, A Shot in the Dark, which you can search for on Spotify.
For now, we thought we'd leave you with a montage to remember our day with the association at MySco. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be back later in the year with another episode of Adelphi Sports Day. Have a good summer.
Today is all about sports journalism students actually coming outdoors on location. Bit more interesting than the classroom, although having looked at the weather, maybe not. It's about journalism, is about telling stories. It's not just about watching football or watching rugby or cricket. It's about actually talking to other human beings and getting their stories. And we are out today with basically blind people or people with visual impairments who play golf. Who've all got absolutely fascinating backstories, who've all lost the sight or had sight issues at a particular age, and that is often incredibly difficult to deal with. So they've all got really fascinating stories, they've all got guides to help them around, and our job as journalism students is to go and talk to them, record what they say, listen to the stories, and then once we've dried off, we'll go back into the classroom over the next few days and we'll make podcasts, or we'll make a TV show about it, or we'll do some radio or write about it.
Day so far has been really, really good. I've enjoyed meeting everyone here. I think everyone's having a really good time.
It's been great. I've learned quite a lot actually about disability sport in general. You don't often, get to experience doing journalism in a real life setting, in a real life place like this.
Well, I've been with Amelo Sadra. He's 15 years old. He's been playing blind golf for a few years now, and he's here with his mum, who's his guide. And we've just been going around, the driving simulator facilities and the putting green simulator and stuff like that. And now we're out here on the course with him.
It's been a great insight, obviously following a sport that I never really knew of before this. The guide is there. He uses the yellow side of the club to position them with the direction that they need to go, and the positioning of their body as well.
Inspiring.
Brilliant.